People I talked to today tell me the layoffs at this Stellantis Warren truck assembly plant this year alone say a lot about the state of the company and why it's now looking for a new CEO.
You know how everyone's been talking about the auto industry slumping? Well, Ram seems to be taking the biggest hit. It's so bad that some execs jump ship lately, which is never a good sign. Sales are tanking, jobs are being cut, and when that happens, you know things are about to get messy. Now, in the midst of all this, Ram just dropped a bombshell that's got the whole car world buzzing. It's not your typical sales are down kind of drama. This is something big, something that's shaking things up at the very core of the company. So what exactly did Ram announce? And what does it mean for the future of the brand? Buckle up, because this is gonna be a wild ride. You see, Stellantis, if you didn't know, is a massive global automaker that owns some of the most iconic brands in the business, like Jeep, Dodge, Chrysler, and Ram. There was a time when these brands were at the top of their game, practically dominating the roads. But now, it feels like the wheels have come off, and Stellantis is struggling to shift gears. Let's start with Jeep. There was a time when Jeep was the go-to for outdoor adventurers and off-road enthusiasts. The brand was all about rugged freedom, open skies, and endless trails. Fast forward to today, and things are looking pretty grim. Jeep's sales have plummeted an eye-popping 44% since 2018. That's nearly half its market gone in just a few years. And if you think Jeep's story is rough, wait until you hear about Dodge. Back in 2013, Dodge was riding high, cranking out muscle cars that people couldn't get enough of. Fast forward to now, and sales have nosedived a staggering 67%. That's not just a slump, that's falling off a cliff. Then there's Chrysler. This brand was once a shining symbol of American automotive pride. Think of it as the flag bearer for innovation and elegance on wheels. But today, Chrysler is barely hanging on, struggling to stay relevant in an industry that's speeding ahead without it. So what's the deal? Here's the thing, Stellantis isn't just dealing with a rough patch, it's facing a full-on crisis. And honestly, a lot of it feels like self-sabotage. Long-time loyal customers are jumping ship, and when you dig into the reasons, it's not hard to see why. Let's talk about Ram first. Ram trucks have always been known for their power and reliability. They've got that rugged work hard, play hard vibe that buyers love. But in recent years, Ram has developed an unexpected talent, pricing their trucks so high they've practically become showroom decorations. Seriously, some of these trucks are so expensive, it's like they're daring people not to buy them. Meanwhile, Ram's biggest competitors, Ford and GM, have been doing the exact opposite. They've been doubling down on innovation, offering more competitive pricing, and sweetening deals to win over buyers. While Ford is wowing the market with its electric F-150 Lightning, and GM is making big moves with its EV strategy, Ram has been sitting in neutral, watching customers drive off with the competition. For most of 2024, Ford and General Motors went head-to-head in an all-out price war. We're talking slashed prices, discounts that seem to pop up every week, and cashback deals that practically beg you to sign on the dotted line. If you were car shopping, it was like playing your own little game of let's make a deal. You could walk into a Ford dealership, chat with the salesperson, then stroll right across the street to a GM lot and ask, "So what can you offer me that's better?" It was a total win for buyers, no question about it. But then there's Stellantis. While Ford and GM were duking it out, Stellantis was just chilling. No big discounts, no flashy incentives, nada. It's like they looked at the fight and said, yeah, we're good. And when you decide not to play the game, well, you can't be surprised when you start losing. And lose they did, big time. Let's break it down. Just a few months ago, Stellantis came out and announced that their global vehicle shipments had taken a nosedive. We're talking a drop of 20% year over year in the third quarter. It gets even worse when you zoom in on North America. Shipments there didn't just dip, they fell off a cliff, dropping by a jaw-dropping 36%. And the reason? It wasn't some unexpected catastrophe. It was because their dealerships were already overflowing with inventory. Now here's where it gets kind of fascinating. The drop in shipments was actually way bigger than the drop in sales. Stellantis reported that their underlying sales only fell 15% during the same quarter. Only might sound like an odd word here because 15% is still a lot, but it's nowhere near that 36% freefall in shipments. So what's going on with that mismatch? Well, it turns out there are a couple of reasons. First, Stellantis has been rethinking their product lineup. They've been shifting gears, probably focusing on models they think will rake in more profits or be more appealing to buyers in the future. Second, dealerships are getting smarter about how they handle stock. They're not just taking in cars for the sake of filling their lots anymore. Instead, they're playing it cautious, avoiding overstocking models that might just sit around collecting dust. Stellantis' struggles go way beyond North America. They're part of a much bigger global story. Shipments didn't just take a hit in the United States and Canada, they also slid in Europe, the Middle East, Africa, and the massive China, India, and Asia Pacific markets. That's a lot of ground, and it suggests that Stellantis isn't just dealing with a local slump, it's facing global headwinds. One of the most glaring issues is that Stellantis, particularly its Ram brand, seems to have lost its mojo. Remember when Ram trucks used to be the ultimate cool kid on the block? Those days are starting to feel like ancient history. The problem is that Stellantis hasn't kept up with the times. It's like they've been spinning their wheels, sticking with what worked in the past, while everyone else is speeding ahead with fresh ideas. Take a stroll through a Stellantis dealership and you can't miss it. The rows of unsold vehicles just sitting there, like relics from a bygone era. Other automakers are out here wowing buyers with electric vehicles that scream innovation, futuristic designs that turn heads, and high-tech features that make you feel like you're driving into the future. Meanwhile, Stellantis is clinging to aging models that don't resonate with today's buyers. And let's talk about Ram trucks specifically. One reason they're losing traction could be tied to the transition away from the iconic Hemi V8 engine. For years, the Hemi has been a symbol of raw, unapologetic power, a badge of pride for truck enthusiasts. But now, Ram is moving toward the newer twin-turbo Hurricane engine, and while it's technically advanced, it just doesn't evoke the same emotional connection for die-hard Hemi fans. It's a tough sell, and for some buyers, it's like trading in their favorite leather jacket for something that's technically warmer but doesn't have the same swagger. Let's take a moment to really think about this. Remember when Ford decided to roll out their EcoBoost V6? They didn't just pull the plug on their classic V8 engines and call it a day. Nope, they played it smart. They kept the legendary Coyote 5.0-liter V8 in the lineup right alongside the new EcoBoost option. It was like saying, hey, we've got this new tech that's efficient and powerful, but if you're all about that classic V8 roar, don't worry, we've still got you. That kind of strategy? Genius. It gave buyers the freedom to choose. Love innovation? Great, here's the EcoBoost. Can't let go of the deep rumble and raw power of a V8? No problem, it's still here for you. Now, Ram decided to go a whole different route. Instead of offering a little bit of both worlds, they made the call to phase out the iconic Hemi V8 entirely. Why, you ask? Well, there's probably a whole checklist of reasons. First, there's the need to boost fuel economy. Let's be honest, the Hemi was never winning awards for sipping gas. Then there are the stricter emissions regulations from the EPA and especially California, which is notoriously tough on automakers. Plus, streamlining production lines at their factories probably saves them time and money. All of that makes sense on paper, sure, but here's the kicker. None of that makes the fans of the Hemi any happier. See, the Hemi V8 wasn't just a powerful engine. It was an experience. Picture a Ram 1500 with a Hemi cruising past. You didn't just see it, you felt it. The low growling rumble from those dual exhaust pipes was like a rallying cry for truck enthusiasts. It was saying, hey, this truck doesn't mess around. That sound wasn't just background noise. For a lot of people, it was a symbol of pride and identity. Owning a Ram with a Hemi was about more than horsepower. It was about making a statement every time you hit the gas. Now, let's talk about the new Hurricane engine. On paper, it's a solid replacement. It delivers more power, it's more efficient in a lot of ways, and the engineering behind it is genuinely impressive. But there's a catch. The Hurricane is quiet, like way too quiet. Instead of that unmistakable growl that turns heads at a stoplight, it's more of a gentle hum. Sure, it's a whisper of power, but for die-hard Ram fans, it feels like something's missing. Even if the performance numbers are off the charts, the emotional connection just isn't there. Look, Ram's move to retire the Hemi was probably the right decision for the future. Fuel efficiency, lower emissions, compliance with regulations, these are all big deals in the modern auto industry. But let's not pretend change is easy. When you've got something as iconic as the Hemi V8, letting it go is like losing a piece of history. Alright, let's talk about the whole Ram 1500 situation. Stellantis has a bit of a problem on their hands. They know some of these trucks are rolling off the production line with issues, like they're aware of it, but instead of hitting the brakes and fixing the core problems, they're just cruising along as if nothing's wrong. Sure, they're patching things up before the trucks hit the dealerships, but that's like slapping a band-aid on a broken arm. It might look fine for a minute, but it's not solving the bigger problem, and those fixes do not come cheap, my friend. Imagine this, every truck that needs extra attention before it can even be sold is like a money pit. It's as if Stellantis is trying to bail water out of a sinking boat with a tiny bucket. The more they spend on last-minute repairs, the higher their production costs climb. And let's be real, that's cash they could be funneling into making better trucks from the start, or even better, investing in the electric vehicle game where all the cool kids are playing right now. Speaking of EVs, Stellantis isn't just fighting the old rivals like Ford and Chevy anymore. They're squaring up against the Teslas, the Rivians, and this entire squad of shiny electric newcomers who are out here stealing the show. Buyers these days, they're not just looking for something that gets from A to B. They want vehicles that scream futuristic vibes, are loaded with smart tech, and look sleek enough to turn heads. It's like the market has moved on to smartwatches, and Stellantis is still out here pushing pocket watches. Nostalgia is cute, but it's not gonna win over anyone who's shopping for a car in this decade. So what does Stellantis need to do? First off, they need to stop playing defense and start leading the charge. They've got to rethink their whole strategy, like really shake things up. That means pouring resources into innovation, going all in on electric options, and seriously giving their truck designs a glow up. Think bold, futuristic, and cool enough to make someone stop scrolling. Right now, it feels like they're stuck in yesterday and in a market that's moving this fast. That's a one-way ticket to irrelevance. Speaking about looking to the future, Ram has finally decided to throw its hat into the ring and join the price war that Tesla, Ford, and General Motors have been duking it out in for what feels like forever. And honestly, it's about time. The competition has been heating up and Ram seems ready to play hardball. Right now, you can snag a 2025 Ram 1500 with their shiny new Hurricane engine. What's that, you ask? Oh, just a twin-turbo straight-six beast that cranks out a whopping 420 horsepower. And here's the kicker. It's being sold with a jaw-dropping discount of over $16,000. Yep, you read that right. That means you could drive off with one for about $43,000. We're talking a crew cab 4x4 pickup truck that's not just capable, it's downright impressive for a little over 40 grand. Let's pause and appreciate what that means. This truck isn't just a workhorse, it's your ticket to weekend adventures. Imagine loading up your dirt bikes, kayaks, or even towing a camper with ease. Plus, when winter hits and the roads turn icy, this thing is ready to plow through like a champ. Or, let's be real, it's also perfect for just looking tough in your driveway. But here's where it gets interesting. Even with these crazy good discounts, Ram is still having a hard time moving units. People just aren't buying trucks like they used to, especially with rising gas prices and a push toward electric vehicles. It's a tough market, and everyone, from Tesla to General Motors, is fighting for buyers. Now, this is where things get good for us, the consumers. This pricing war is like a golden opportunity. Automakers are slashing prices left and right to outdo each other, which means deals like this might just be the beginning. If Ram's discounts are this good now, who knows what kind of offers we'll see as 2025 unfolds. Maybe more price drops, maybe additional tech features thrown in to sweeten the deal. It's all on the table. So here's my 2 cents. Whether you're a hardcore Ram enthusiast or just someone who loves a good bargain, now might be the perfect time to start shopping. The trick, be patient and keep an eye on the market. Timing is everything in the truck game, and the smartest buyers are the ones who know exactly when to pounce. Now, because of all these issues, Carlos Tavares, the guy who was once considered one of the sharpest minds in the automotive world, has officially called it quits. And it wasn't a gradual exit. Nope, this was sudden and left everyone reeling. Just 2 months after Stellantis issued a profit warning, Tavares shocked the industry by announcing his resignation. To make matters worse, this bombshell comes during a brutal year for the company, with its market value dropping by about 40%. Yeah, 40%. Ouch. Stellantis wasted no time trying to stabilize things. They've confirmed that they're already on the hunt for a new CEO and aim to have someone in place by the first half of 2025. In the meantime, Chairman John Elkann has stepped up to steer the ship, forming an interim executive committee to keep things moving. Basically, it's like a don't panic button, but let's be honest, it's a tense situation. And get this, Henri de Castries, the senior independent director, decided to spill some tea in his statement. He revealed that Tavares didn't just wake up one day and decide to leave. Nope, this was the result of some serious clashes between Tavares, major shareholders, and the board. The disagreements had apparently been simmering for a while, and it finally reached a breaking point. According to de Castries, the tension created an unsustainable situation, so Tavares handed in his resignation with immediate effect. Talk about drama. Here's the kicker. Not too long ago, Carlos Tavares was riding high on a wave of success. He was seen as a genius when it came to steering an automotive powerhouse through rough waters. In 2023, he helped Stellantis achieve an eye-popping 12% operating margin. To put that into perspective, it wasn't just good, it was way better than what Ford or General Motors managed to pull off that year. The guy's efforts didn't just make headlines, they earned him a record-breaking paycheck of 36.5 million euros. Yep, 36.5 million. And it wasn't just about his salary. That year, Stellantis saw record profits, with their performance in the United States playing a massive role. The US alone brought in over half of the company's operating income. But as the saying goes, what goes up must come down. For Stellantis, the fall came faster than anyone expected. By September of this year, the cracks were showing. The company issued a profit warning, signaling that all wasn't well. Weak performance in the United States, which had once been their golden goose, was now becoming a liability. It was clear that the success of 2023 wasn't something they could sustain. They hit a seriously bumpy road, especially in North America, which is, like, the market they depend on. Things started going south pretty fast, and by September of 2024, they had to drop a profit warning that sent shockwaves through their investors. And let me tell you, this wasn't just a little hiccup, it was more like the kind of thing that makes people go, wait, what is happening over there? The company said they could be looking at a cash burn of up to 10 billion euros. That's roughly $10.6 billion. Why? Mainly because their sales in North America were just crawling, and their inventories were piling up faster than anyone could deal with. Imagine a warehouse full of cars that no one's buying. It's a nightmare scenario for a company that relies so heavily on this region to keep its bottom line healthy. After that, Stellantis decided it was time to shake things up. They started making some major changes at the top. Both the chief financial officer and the head of North American operations were shown the door. But Carlos Tavares, the big boss, managed to stay on for a bit. You could tell, though, that his days were numbered. Everyone could see the writing on the wall. Fast forward a few weeks, and boom, Stellantis announced that Tavares wouldn't be sticking around for another term as CEO. He's planning to retire when his mandate ends in early 2026. At first, the company said they were going to take their time finding a new leader and wrap it up by the end of next year. But now, with all this chaos, that timeline's been sped up. Basically, they're scrambling to figure out who's gonna steer this ship through these stormy waters. And let's talk about the stock situation. Yikes. Their shares have plummeted by a jaw-dropping 40% in just 12 months. To put that in perspective, Ford's shares are down only 7%, which isn't great, but still manageable. Meanwhile, General Motors is out here flexing with a 55% increase this year. It's like Stellantis is stuck in reverse gear, watching their rivals zoom past them on the freeway. Oh, and it's not just about the numbers. The whole vibe around Stellantis feels shaky right now. They're clearly trying to get their act together, but between the leadership changes, the cash burn, and the North American market struggles, it's like they're playing catch-up on a moving treadmill. So what's next for Stellantis? With Carlos Tavares stepping down, the company is staring at a big what now moment. They've got the global reach, the resources, and some iconic brands under their belt. But here's the thing, they need fresh ideas and a leader with enough firepower to make it all happen. Dealers are out here shouting, hey, give us cars that actually match what buyers are asking for. Shareholders, on the other hand, are pushing for a solid, forward-thinking game plan. They don't just want a company that survives, they want one that thrives. And as for the everyday folks, it's simple. They're saying, just give us awesome cars we actually want to drive. Now, the industry grapevine is buzzing with some serious concerns. Experts are warning Stellantis needs to move quickly, like yesterday quickly. If they don't, they risk losing their grip in major markets like the United States. And you know how hard it is to make a comeback once you're out of the game there. Some are even speculating that if they don't turn things around soon, Stellantis could be forced to retreat from those markets entirely. Can you even imagine a world where Jeep or Dodge fades into the background? That's the kind of thing that would send shivers down the spine of any car enthusiast. But here's the kicker, it's not just about making cars anymore. The entire auto industry is going through this massive transformation. Think electric vehicles, cutting-edge tech, and a huge push for sustainability. Competitors are out here crushing it, rolling out sleek electric rides, building better tech ecosystems, and committing to greener practices. Meanwhile, Stellantis, they feel like they're stuck in a time warp, still revving the engine, but not really going anywhere. If they don't start keeping up, they could end up as just another name we talk about in Remember When conversations. So now, Stellantis needs to bring in a new CEO who's ready to jump into what's basically a perfect storm. It's not going to be just about making cars. This new leader will have to navigate some seriously tricky waters. For starters, there's dealing with United States President-elect Donald Trump. He's made it crystal clear he's not a fan of automakers bringing in cheap vehicles from Mexico. He's even floated the idea of slapping tariffs on those imports. And let's be real, those tariffs could hit Stellantis right where it hurts. Analysts at S&P are already predicting this could chop off a whopping 25% of the company's earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization by 2025. That's massive. And then there's Europe. Stellantis has to figure out how to keep European leaders happy while also managing their US operations. It's like trying to play referee in two different soccer matches at the same time. On top of that, they'll have to make some big calls about which tech to bet on. Are they going to go all in on electric, double down on autonomous driving tech, or maybe both? What's clear is this: Stellantis can't afford to sit back and hope things get better. The new leadership will need to hit the ground running with bold ideas and smart strategies to keep the company not just in the game, but leading it. So yeah, Stellantis has its work cut out for them. The next few years are going to be make or break. Let's see if they've got what it takes. So, what do you think about all this? Let us know in the comments section. Also, make sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and activate the notification bell to stay updated with all our latest videos. While you're still here, click the video on your screen to see more interesting content like this one.